Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're gonna go out there and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to just show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win, because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to lose.
Well, this embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. And that's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
What's the deal, Panthers fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. the Professor, here tonight with my co-host. Pretty excited about this. Panther Nasty. And we've got a special guest tonight in Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe. Willie P, it's good to have you here hosting the show with me tonight, man.
What's up, boss? How you doing, man? I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe. How is the off-season treating you?
I'm doing like a normal veteran, just trying to get some rest, not paying attention to much, spending some time with the kids, going to the school, just, getting out of shape as much as I can before I have to get in shape.
I hear you. Well, I'm a pro at out of shape at the moment. Tonight, though, is about sacrifice, Lenten sacrifice, and Old Carolina becomes New York. Episode 18.2. Tomorrow starts Lent. It's Ash Wednesday tomorrow, as well as Valentine's Day. I think I'm giving up beer, guys, for 40 days, which is, I'm hoping like 10 pounds, baby, because that's my
Come on.
So I will be doing this show with, look, I could do it. I've had this Gatorade sitting here on my desk for like a year. It's a Cam Newton Gatorade. I've been just like saving it as a souvenir. Maybe I should drink it at some point. But anyway, tonight we're going to talk about some sacrifices that the Panthers will have to make and are making at the current moment, waiting on our new general manager or a general manager. We'll We'll talk tonight about Mike Shula being hired as the New York Giants' fake offensive coordinator. An offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays, draws them up. Good thing he brought his Post-it notebook with him to New York. All things will be fine there. He's joining Dave Gettleman. But we got a lot of other things to talk about, from power rankings, from NFL.com. And I would say we got to figure out what this GM situation is. That's why we bought. Hopefully Chris can give us some insight into that. So follow the show at @cat_chronicles on Twitter. Hit us up. Go ahead and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Smash that thumbs up button, as well as if you're on Facebook, Periscope, share the show with a friend or in another social media outlet. We've got the Cat Calls line. Towards the end of the show, the number is 252-228-5098. You can call and leave a message all day, any day, to get whatever you need to off your chest about the Carolina Panthers. So, guys, let's go ahead. I think we should talk about this first. If this is blockbuster news, this is starving time. Mike Shula has been named the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. No interviews. We kept hearing, we saw those tweets for weeks and weeks about, look at all these other jobs that are opening up, all these people that are getting hired, and Mike Shula ain't even getting an interview. Well, right. he got a job as a fake offensive coordinator. Willie, what do you say to the reunion of him and Dave Gettleman in New York?
I was shocked, man, because when Dave got hired as the Giants GM, he mentioned that he wanted to make a move from Shula to Pat Shurmur. So I was like, well, that told me he didn't like, what he wanted to, he wasn't pleased with Mike Shula. So I for him to have hired him, this threw me back. I was like, wow, man, But when you figure out he's not going to be making the calls, he's just pretty much a quarterback coach, then it kind of makes sense.
Chris, if you were to hire a new front man for CharlotteVibe.com and that front man stood behind the camera the whole time, would you call him a front man?
I'd call them Cat Chronicles.
No, hey, holding my man's camera. I go to the game and I hold my man's camera for him. Mike Shula has been hired as the New York Giants offensive coordinator, but Schumer has said that he will call the plays and Mike Shula will design them. What do you think about the continued revolving the recycling of talent in the NFL in coaching positions? Is this to be expected? How do you feel just overall about just these coaches just getting retreaded everywhere they go?
Yeah, I definitely feel it's expected. Like one thing I'm also a photographer, so this one time I had the opportunity, like maybe a month ago in Charlotte, they had this NFL Players Coaches Association thing, and I got to sit on the wall literally and hear I forget Tomlin. Anyway, this head coach talk about how the process works about building your teams and getting new jobs and the network that they have. And basically it's just like getting a job for us. It's about who you know and who you're comfortable with and who you feel can do something. You might not have the total faith, like, hey, this is not the first guy I wanted, but you know that you can manage that guy. And so that's important. I mean, these guys got huge jobs, huge responsibilities. All of us are watching. So that plays a big part of it that I think will just inevitably continue because we got to deal with people that we're close to with jobs like this. So from that standpoint, I get it. But just if I remove that experience of what I heard that day about how they build their coaching staffs, you go to wonder what would happen if Dave Gettleman was still here, would Mike Shula have still been here, that kind of thing. But
there's some irony there, isn't there? Is that Dave Gettleman could be if he was the GM, Mike Shula still likely fired, and he is part of the hiring process of a guy he would have fired the same year.
Yeah. Who picks?
It's like a sci-fi show.
Does that come more from the head coach or from the GM?
Well, I would think that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Shermer's going to, nominate some names, but I think Gettleman too is. It's nice, he's got to okay some of those. He's coming in. Gettleman hired Shermer, so it's not. Right. It's not like it's a little different than when Dave Gettleman joined the Panthers because Ron Rivera was here. Gettleman's trying to figure out if he doesn't want to upset the apple cart maybe. And what the relationship between him and his head coach is. Maybe he learned that it's good to let the head coaches do this. There is still that kind of funny connection that's less than 7 degrees of separation or 6 degrees, whatever that saying is. It's only 1 degree of separation. And what the heck is going on? I got something playing in the background.
Did you opening up? Come on, man.
Oh,
you know better than this.
Oh, I know what it is. This is that same. Don't ever use Microsoft Edge. Lesson learned. I set up these other guys' podcasts for them on Tuesday nights, and I do it in another browser, so I don't have to retype in the login information. I always forget to close the browser. That was the beginning of Under the Dome podcast, a Saints podcast by fans, for fans. But you're going to stick with us because the Saints suck.
Yes, they do.
When we go to Schumer, though, he's going to be calling plays. Is this really Mike Shula being really a quarterback's coach? Because they're not hiring a quarterback's coach.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, in some ways, that's kind of... that might be a good fit for him there. And I wonder if Gettleman, too, feels comfortable. I think Gettleman has to work with Shermer. If Shermer's the offensive guy, he can't really, this is not even that big a news.
You know what? I heard online, I think it might have been Pat Coach, I'm not sure who said it, but from the mock drafts, it looked like the Giants are interested in drafting a quarterback. So maybe they brought him in. Maybe they plan on getting a mobile quarterback, and they brought in Shula to draw up some plays where they kind of utilize Cam. They want to probably use the quarterback the same way. It make a little sense. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Well, I don't know. Why would you want Shula plays?
I think this is just so if you look at average today, I average Carolina's offensive ranks in the 5 years that Shula was the offensive coordinator. They average 18th in yards, 13th in points, 7th in rushing, and 24 in passing. You know, some of this is upwardly skewed in the fact that, you know, you had that number 1 scoring season. So 13th in points is a little higher than probably you know, that what the standard offense is. The defense helped them out a lot that year. But, you know, I mean, he was kind of consistent in that you stuck around that 12 to 19 range in a lot of categories. One thing, though, is the good news in the language of Michael Jordan, the basement is the floor here, because New York was 31st in offense this past season and like 27th the year before. Now, they were without Odell Beckham Jr., but one of the things, maybe they brought in Mike Shula to say, we got to coach a team that has no left tackle. And who better to do that than Mike Shula? Just my theory. Just a theory. Nobody, not a lot of laughs there. There was some crickets on that one. Chris Jenkins doesn't like to be associated with any bad talk about the players.
No.
All right, let's get off of Mike Shula right here. He's actually, I think, you know, he's been a whipping boy for Carolina. The good news is that with Shermer calling the plays, I don't know how anybody can handle that media in New York. They would, if you thought we were hard on Shula, them mugs would have dang tore him apart. So. Other news.
It's interesting they brought him in. It's interesting they brought him in to design plays. I mean, looking at our offense last year, we had absolutely no identity at all. So I'm assuming a mobile quarterback might be in the future. I'm not sure. I don't see what else makes sense.
Yeah, to design plays. That is not necessarily what we thought the strength of Shula was going to be or was while he was here. I wrote in a story today that the first time that Eli Manning is sacked on 3rd and 10 after 2 0-yard gains on runs up the middle, that New York is going to tear this guy apart.
He's food, man. I'm from New York.
Good.
He won't have to face it, though. He won't be calling the plays, right?
Yeah, you're right. And then I saw that afterwards. So here, let's talk about a cool story, though. Cam Newton Foundation has sponsored a play that was put on in Charlotte, and in this corner, Cassius Clay. And this was, so he sponsored this production, this theatrical production about Cassius Clay before he becomes Muhammad Ali. Cam Newton said that, quote, that Ali is his idol, and he liked him because he truly enjoyed himself and had fun as an athlete. And he revered the 6 core principles on which he had these 6 core principles that Cam Newton believes in: confidence, conviction, dedication, giving, respect, and spirituality. So this was, I thought, a cool story. Is that I like to see that there's some depth to Cam Newton, and who doesn't like a little Muhammad Ali in the process, right? Well, I guess a lot of people used to not like him in the past. He is one of those guys now who, now that he's passed, right?
They love him.
Yeah, everybody loves him. It's kind of like Abraham Lincoln. You know, nobody, you know, he's so disliked. Here's the history moment for you guys, is that Frederick Douglass used to hate Abraham Lincoln. Man, I won't say hate him as a person, but definitely didn't like his politics. But after he was assassinated, he became like a legend of Frederick Douglass because he could make him who he wanted him to be in many ways. So I like this story about Muhammad Ali and Cassius Clay. Chris Jenkins, you a boxing fan?
Not too much.
I'll
watch it. Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
All right, here's how I gauge it. Yes to money or no to money? Money Mayweather.
I like the stories about it. I mean, him as a boxer, I don't know, but the stories are just great.
God, he's a great boxer. So if you like the stories, you would not be disappointed what happens in the ring. What are you, Willie P? Are you a money guy?
I respect Money Mayweather. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan because I like guys that hit hard. But I respect Money Mayweather. I think he's a great boxer. I think one of the greatest in our generation. But I'm not a Mayweather fan. I was more of a Roy Jones and Zab Judah fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Roy Jones Jr., one of my favorite Cribs episode ever on MTV Cribs is that he's showing his crib off. He opens the door up to his fridge, like one of those double-decker two-door, like looks like it should be in a restaurant or in a hotel fridge or something. And then this whole wall, like the whole door is like, what is it? It's not Cavassier. What's the champagne that everybody likes or whatever? One of those.
Cristal?
Yeah, it was Cristal. And he goes, I got all this, but I don't drink because all I do is trade. And then he shut the door. And it was like this huge thing of like this. It was like $10,000 worth of alcohol. And he's like, but I don't drink. And then I heard him on a radio show once, and he was talking about he liked cockfighting, and he used to do this. And they were talking about, don't you think that it's kind of like inhumane to fight these
chickens?
Yeah. And he goes, nah, we don't put blades on their feet. Like, my man was true. I like them too. I ain't gonna lie. All right. Carolina Panthers are without a GM still. Jason Lockhanfora has been putting out some stories, or some tweets, should I say. Tweets are our stories now, but he has reason to believe that the Panthers are looking to hire outside the organization and may be getting pressure from the NFL on this. Willie, how you feel? I know you're concerned about this. No GM. The clock is ticking.
I feel this way. We got a lot of stuff coming up with the combine. We got a lot of stuff with the GM and the coaches and the scouting. I mean, they work tirelessly all year long, but it's simply when they go and interview a lot of the players. And we, like I said, we don't have a GM or an assistant, you know. Free agency's coming up, and I don't know what we're doing.
What, Chris, is there any – I mean, really, Charlotte's kind of shut down to football at the moment. I don't know what type – you're in the off season. I know you're not out there at all probably. What are your kind of impressions about – is this something to be concerned about? As a fan base, like, where is our GM? Like, we're looking for him, like a Where's Waldo book.
It's like we've quietly become like the Dallas Cowboys type of organization with all the headlines, man.
And you look very quickly. This has happened since like August.
Actually, it kind of started with Greg Hardy.
Oh, you're right.
If you honestly, it's been going since Greg Hardy, just having these headlines and these crazy stories. You definitely want to get your GM in place because he's the one that's going to. You don't want to have different chiefs, right? So if he's not in place, then somebody else has to be the chief, and that kind of starts to handicap the GM when he comes in if he does not like the exact direction that you're going, and he kind of has to concede to whatever's been put there before him. And you're right, the combine's coming up. There's some planning coming up. So I kind of feel like something should happen soon because internally they know if Hurney's going to be in a position to return or not because they know a little bit more facts than we don't. So I would really like to think that the longer that it takes to hire a GM, the more likely it's going to still be Hurney.
Yeah, I think so too. And my point is, because if you don't want to bring a new guy in and he don't have that kind of time to actually make the plans and this and that and the other. If you wanted to hire Hurney, just hire Hurney. I wish they would have never did the intern thing to begin with, because obviously that's who they wanted. This whole process seemed to be a pain. You should just made him a GM from the start.
It seems like this harassment thing obviously threw a monkey wrench into the works, because I think that was the plan. You do a couple of these interviews to dog and pony show the world and HR departments around the world. And Marty Hurney is the guy that's going to transition, or he's not only going to be a transition piece, but take back over. It seemed like Jerry Richardson had arranged that from the beginning, but the fact that he was, I don't know, not charged, but whatever this thing about some harassment claim that's not happening, the non-harassment, the making of lists. That's what I heard. That's my favorite thing, is that broke into her house supposedly and left notes. So, so that was the story that I heard, was that his ex-wife accused him or his friends of breaking into her home and leaving notes.
Damn, Hurney?
That's his Hurney's ex-wife supposedly said that claimed that he was harassing her, or his friends were. And I was like, man, dude, breaking in her house and leaving a note, like, do the laundry. Leaving a note like, I ain't paying for the electric bill no more. Ha! I don't know, like, what kind of notes? Like, what do you do? Leaving notes? It's like he left like little pieces of Mike Shula's playbook around. little Post-it notes everywhere. Nah.
It wouldn't be Mike Shula, but it wouldn't be threatening.
hey. So, well, so I thought that was where the transition was going to be, but now I don't know how, and I feel like Jason LaCanfora is generally pretty decent reporter. Like I don't ever go like, oh, this is a guy that I dislike. I can't remember ever saying that. And he was pretty adamant, I felt like, especially saying that the NFL is encouraging them to look other places. Now, you're talking about, and I think Chris brought up a great point, that this does go back a lot farther than Dave Gettleman. I mean, if you think about Greg Hardy to then the president, what was the former president's name?
Morrison. Danny Morrison?
Yeah, Danny Morrison, leaving kind of, it seemed like they tried to say he just wants to go back to his alma mater or something like that, but it also seemed sudden, or there wasn't a lot of explanation behind that. You get Brandon Beane, who leaves. They never replace that vice president or assistant general manager. You then fire the general manager. Is that there's not a lot of structure behind. It would be one thing if you fired your GM and you were trying to make a change right now, but you've got ownership in the up in the air. You have no president. You have no vice president. No president, no assistant general manager. So there's not a lot of infrastructure. And really, what Willie and I were talking about before the show is there's not a lot of time either. What we got here is that in 2 weeks, the NFL Scouting Combine will start on February 27th. It goes through March 5th. You also have to designate, the first day to designate franchise tags is on February 20th. So there's some questions about, is Norwell a guy that maybe you want to do this with? Is Starr a guy maybe you want to do that with? Those are not, they're kind of going to be more up in the air unless Hurney comes back with just full confidence that he's going to be taking over. And I think that has to be what this means. And then March 12th, you can start talking with free agents. That's just a month away. So
my attitude is, if you're going to hire Hurney. But with the Ray Caruth situation where Ray Caruth, got his woman killed, then you got Greg Hardy and, domestic violence. Now you got the owner being accused of sexual harassment. I don't know if you can just bring Hurney in a situation like this. I don't know what they plan on doing. My thing is they don't have the owner there to make a decision right now. And that's why I think this thing is lingering. You either hire Hurney and just deal with whatever situation is, or you just move on. And they don't have the guys in place to make the move.
I forget her title, but isn't there basically this woman that's now at a very high position within the organization?
Yeah,
So
she's like the vice president of operations or something, I think.
yeah, so she could be one to make sure that the culture in her company is a positive thing, right? For whatever that may mean.
Right.
That's going to be an ultimate the story of I guess rah-rah story there as a former cheerleader.
Did you say rah-rah story?
Yeah, like rah-rah.
I get called to the PR's office so many times with you.
Yeah, she gets
so many times.
If she can cheerlead this organization through this woman deserves to be the general manager. Look,
well, she got rid of Shula, so I congratulate her on that.
Yeah. I mean, she's gonna be manning the ship, and that's fine. Or I don't know if you should say that, manning the ship at this point. But anyway, she is in charge. And what a crazy, awesome story to go from somebody who was a former Top Cat and has worked your way through an organization. That's pretty awesome. All of a sudden to come out on top. If all of this goes and a new owner comes in and changes everything out, that's a good thing to have on your resume, I would say. I would expect her to be getting some job offers from somewhere. All right.
Nope, she's going to be here with us.
Yeah, so, I mean, okay, how about this what do you think? I'll ask Willie to take a firm stand on this. If in the ideal world, in the ideal setting, would you want Marty Hurney or would you want a fresh look?
I think we need to go. I like to go in a fresh direction. I like get Lake Dawson in here. We fired Hurney. There was a reason why we fired Hurney, and he wasn't absolutely terrible.
Nope.
But
good drafter.
Right, but I think some fresh ideas, a new direction. I think we have that opportunity right now. I think that's the direction to go into right now.
I think what a cool storyline would have done is to bring in Dan Morgan, vice president of player recruit or player scouting or personnel development, one of those titles for the Seattle Seahawks. I thought that would have been a cool look. I never heard his name going around. Chris, you're just kind of on the position that Marty Hurney. Have you heard anything about when he's going to be like reinstated or anything like that?
No, I haven't, and I was just trying to think about my evaluation of him this year, and it's late. I told you it's the off season, brain's a little slow, but I don't. He didn't make an impression with me one way or another where I would say I want him, I don't want him. Because he came in late and he kind of, did he do a few contracts? We got a few contracts on.
Yeah, he took care of Olsen. He took care of TD. So he came in and did what Jerry Richardson wanted him to do.
Traded Kevin Benjamin.
Yeah, that was a big move. He did trade Kelvin Benjamin. I would say that's a huge move. He did work with Ron, I guess, in getting, a new offensive coordinator brought in. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Ron did probably most of them on his own. He's very familiar with the organization. That's the one good thing about Hurney is that he's been in Charlotte since he was fired. I think that he would make a great president of operations. Put him as the guy that's kind of more on the upper interacting with businesses in the community and then come in and bring in a fresh look. That's just
I agree with that.
All right, Curtis Samuel suffered, I guess, was it a broken ankle?
He got banged all season.
All off season and season.
Yeah.
Ligament damage and bone damage.
So he second round draft pick. Panthers go in the evolution of the offense, go and get Curtis Samuel, who is lightning in a bottle fast, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none at this point. But then he missed training camp with a hamstring injury. Comes and had limited success in the beginning, still bothering him. Always getting nicked up. Then he has 2 games where he's just like finally making some catches and making a presence, and then he gets a big ankle injury. I saw that he's rehabbing. Like this is still in a substantial rehab process in the pool, doing like basically working this out, water workouts and stuff. And that the Panthers organization said that they do not expect him for OTAs, but they expect him for training camp. Chris, when a team puts out a timeline, do you think that timelines are generally optimistic or on the conservative side?
I would say they're on the conservative side because you'll often see as they get closer to that date, the player has more input about coming back or not, because everybody has these different healing times, and pain thresholds. So I think it's on the conservative side, and it's possible he could come back sooner.
Okay. Willie, I know that this concerns you not just because of how long the rehab process is, but missing so much time as a rookie. What are the concerns with what are your concerns? Where do they lie with Curtis Samuel?
My concern is, what direction do we go into? I don't think I take injury prone serious. He was only a rookie, so you can't just judge a man or play about 1 year. But he's been hurt so many times his rookie year, and we've seen players like that. We see Demar Bird just can't go through a whole season. My old favorite, David Gettleman. I don't know if he's going to be the kind of guy you can rely on. I don't know if this is a situation. He's a second-round pick, so you're going to do what you got to do. But, do we sign a player that possibly plays slot? I don't know. When you got CMC, I don't know. It's definitely a concern. I mean, hopefully he heals fast. Hopefully he could come in and play, but
David Geddes was a name that is a Marty Hurney. I think Marty Hurney, either a late draft pick or was he undrafted? Six.
No, he was a 6th-round draft pick.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys that I saw somebody put up, the off-season conversation on Twitter or wherever it was. Who's the last one of those guys that you were really stoked about that never worked out? And it was Geddes for a lot of us. Is that there was so much potential and promise. He played well when he was out there. It seemed he just couldn't stay out there. So we're wishing the best for Curtis Samuel, but he is not the answer entirely. Is that you want to have him back? You want to be developing these younger guys, but he is going to be a rookie next year, coming off a major injury essentially. So you're going to have to do some things to bolster that position group. Let's move on to NFL.com. Go ahead, Chris.
I think you stay strong with Curtis Samuel. I feel like you might give up on a Bird before you would give up on Curtis Samuel.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because one thing I really noticed early on about Curtis, at Ohio State, he did a lot of things, receiver and running back. And what I liked about him when he was playing was the physicality that he would play with. That, some of the faster guys don't have that. Breaking tackles or spinning or just being physical. And I think that gives you reason to have, at least another season where you're strong on Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I mean, you've got two. I mean, really, you got 2 or 3 seasons you can be like that. I mean, not that you have to rely on him to be a starter if it doesn't work out. I mean, you can, I guess, cut bait at some point. But as a 2nd-round draft pick, I think you got option for 3 years on a 2nd-round draft pick and 4 years on a 1st. So you could, you can kind of stick with him, at least keep him on the roster if he continues to have these problems. But I think, too, the question is do you rely on these guys? And I don't think that right now we can rely, and I don't want to say it because I love Baby Bird. That's my guy. So I hope that he works out. But again, he's just shown the same concerns too that we have with Curtis Samuel, maybe even more so, because like Chris is saying, he has looked slight of build out there. He's played explosively, but he gets hurt. He's gotten hurt every year too.
Curtis Samuel made some big boy catches last year that really make you say, wow, I wonder what this guy can do. The catch across the middle, how he stayed in bounds on And there is a bright spot. I think the right offensive coordinator with Samuel, and he could be dangerous possibly if he put the work in. But like I said, is he going to be a Timbiaka Batuka? Is he going to be the kind of guy that every 5 minutes he's hurt? I don't know.
Ryan Monroe says, for years the Panthers have been using stopgaps at wide receiver. Haven't had a reliable receiver in almost 4 years. And Slim J says, stop giving Cam undrafted free agent and bums to throw to. So is that there has the biggest investment we've made at wide receiver has been in Kelvin Benjamin. And that was a 27th, 28th pick. And you did that in a year where you just parted ways with the only receiver on your roster in Steve Smith. So he was going to be thrown to the Wolves from day one. He had his best season, arguably, as rookie. But there really hasn't been much. I mean, and I think this shows it to you, a 36-year-old Jericho Cotchery was like one of the most productive wide receivers since Steve Smith left in Carolina in many ways, or one of that fans left. So there does need to be, or we expect some investment there. Only $20 million against the cap, though. You know, the options are going to be limited in some ways, and I don't know if a rookie is going to be the answer entirely. NFL.com put out some power rankings this past week. There are 3 teams from the NFC South in the top 10. Should not terribly be a big surprise since you got 3 teams in the playoffs that had 12 wins or 10. What did the Falcons have? 10 wins?
10.
Yeah.
We had 11. They had 10.
So you got 3 teams with more than 10 wins in the NFC South. The Saints are ranked 4. The Falcons ranked 5. The Panthers are ranked 9. And the Buccaneers are ranked 23rd. Do you think that's too nice to the Bucs?
Yes.
We ain't fooled. Like George Bush said, fool me once, shame on you.
Shame on me.
Fool me twice, a fool man can't get fooled again.
Shame on me.
As they said, a fool man can't get fooled again. Chris, where you expect the Panthers? You like them moving up this year? Where you think? You think 9 is a good spot? Power rankings, too early power rankings?
Prediction with no owner, no general manager, Ron Rivera doing what he can. All these injuries, I mean, I'd really like to give you something, but that's a tough one with all the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Of course, I hope with my heart. New offensive coordinator. I don't know what he's going to do. He's been real tight-lipped about everything, just talking about looking at film.
Yeah, how do you project? How do you project a team? You know, it's hard enough to project the NFL when things remain relatively the same. You know, I mean, you go from the Panthers 15-1 to 2016 to back to 2017. It's up and down, up and down. You got the Eagles who've turned it around. You've got teams that go from the basement to the top and from the top to the basement every year. But boy, there's a lot of change in Carolina, and the pillars that we have, the pillars of stability. Cam Newton, at least he's healthy. He finishes the season healthy, it seems. So we might get the first healthy Cam Newton, no surgery, no problems in the offseason, coming back to all activities from the beginning. That's a good thing. Luke Kuechly, though, it was announced this week, underwent a shoulder surgery, as well as last week you had Julius Peppers. Now, a lot of this seems routine and things to this effect, but you really, I mean, having a healthy Luke Kuechly would make me feel a lot better overall because you get a new defensive coordinator. I mean, he's got to do some rehab and some things to get better. Do you know have you heard any news, Chris, on what degree of type of surgery this was?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had surgery, so thanks for breaking that news. I told you I've been doing the off season, man.
Good. I'm expecting that it was this. Supposedly, it was reported that this is why he missed the Pro Bowl. But it sounds like he has shoulder surgery. That's hard to say for me, shoulder surgery.
Because you were drinking during the break.
Nope, no drinking. I started Lent early, a day early. No booze. I'm already dying.
He had two shoulder surgeries in 3 years.
Yeah. Hopefully this is just a cleanup. But a lot of people,
Right.
I thought it was odd how many fans showed some real concern about not about his health, but this season, he wasn't, I guess, maybe as dominant as he's been in the past. And a lot of people were saying that this was a sign, potentially, of him regressing because of all the concussions, of all the injuries.
No.
He's the number one. To me, he's the best linebacker in the league.
Hands down.
I like that. See, that's why you do. That's why you do the show with me.
I think the reason why he didn't look the same because we didn't have the same defensive coordinator. I think that we know where Luke is real dangerous at in coverage. That's where his bread and butter is and how he dissect plays. I think we might have blitzed Luke a little too much last year. I think Wilkes was the product of Luke not looking the same. That's my opinion.
That's what Cody Lashney's theory is. So, what about this? Also, just on NFL.com, rookie grades were posted for last year, rookies in the 2016 season. They gave Carolina a B-. I thought this was very generous, yeah, because the only thing the article said was this. Basically, McCaffrey was not surprising as a draft pick, played all 16 games, and was pretty good. Other than that, they had nothing to say about the rookie class at all. So they gave us a B- for one pick, while the Saints got an A+ for drafting the Pro Bowl team.
They deserve it.
Team. Good Lord. Falcons got a C+, Tampa Bay got a B+. And also news came out, too. There were some rankings that Cam wasn't in the tops of being in the tight passer window. Which is, I thought, was surprising, given that we said our receivers couldn't get any separation. Cam Newton was not a tight passer this year. It is the offseason, folks. It's tough. Tough talk.
That's probably because McCaffrey.
Yeah. All right, Chris, when do you start really getting back into things? The combine starts on the 27th. Do you hold off until OTAs, or are you interested in, do you start with the draft? What's your normal routine?
I start back with the draft, and then I still kind of go down a little bit, but I'll cover the draft pretty hard through those, 3 days that they do that? And then really the season for me kicks off with OTAs, where I'll be at it pretty hard full time.
Fantastic. All right, we got, let's do this. We got one segment to knock out real quick. We got the cat calls. Real quick, here we go. The cat calls line is for you folks to call in and contribute, have your voice heard on the longest running, number one ranked Panthers fan podcast out. The C3 podcast number is 252-228-5098. Program it in your phone so when something comes to mind, when one of those crazy tweets comes around, like Sales at Salesman, who's like one of the most famous Panther Twitter people. He has a picture. He made a template of the big board at Carolina, and he's been putting basically tweets overlaying it, these little things. And he said, thank you. The one today that got me a little slightly salty and sad and laughing all at the same time. He said, thank you, opposing fans, for 137 consecutive sellouts. I was like, dang, that hurt. That hurt harder than I thought it was going to hurt. So you can call in and leave your messages just like these right here on the Cat Calls line.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose?
Mel Mayock, Joey, the freaking Puerto Rican, and Tony, the professor. C3 Podcast, YouTube chat room, everybody. It's your boy J-Dub. I've been gone for a long time, but that's life. It seems like turmoil in Carolina right now a little bit with who's going to own us, who's going to be the general manager and such. But we can't worry about that because there's nothing we can do about it. I hear a lot of people talking about the draft prospects, and that's cool. We still got like 3 months until that. Combine hasn't even started. For me, I just wanted to bring up a little point, just a little wish thing for the next year's schedule. Seeing as we drew the NFC East this year in our schedule, I would really love, absolutely love to see another Thanksgiving game with Dallas. Because we've only had one in our history, and that was in 2015. We dominated. We all know that team in that game. But I would just love to see another Thanksgiving game. Just want to see what you thought about that. You guys have a good one.
Yeah, we love Panthers football on Thanksgiving.
That was awesome.
Tony Dunn, Mel Mayock, that freaking Puerto Rican Joe Riolano. What's up, boys? You know what time it is. It's time for Better Know a Potential Panthers draft pick. I'm the YouTube champion, Cody Lashley, and without further ado, let's get the ball rolling. Today we are profiling DJ Chark, wide receiver out of LSU. And one of the things that you will notice with all the guys that I'm bringing up is that I feel that they will fit the type of offense that Norv Turner wants to run. And everyone has us taking a wide receiver in the first round, and I don't think that's the way to go. You find a guy in the later rounds that's going to be able to do everything that you want. And DJ Chark fits that bill. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. I'm thinking that he might run a 4.4 at the combine. He makes separation. He can high point the ball. He has everything that you want. If you watch the Senior Bowl, he balled out, and he showed out, man. And he was someone that, when LSU played Auburn, he looked like a first-round draft pick. He put the dagger in the heart of the Auburn Tigers, and I really think that he has the potential to be something special. Yeah, if we don't go out and pick someone in free agency, that's someone that I would absolutely love for the Panthers to pick up. He can take the top off the defense. His route tree is excellent, and I think he can very well be the guy. Shout out to Carlton Davis. Shout out to Slim in the chat. You know what it is. Keep pounding.
Hi, what's up, Cat Chronicles? This is the loyal, one of the loyal listeners, Carlton Davis. Hey guys, why don't you just call me by my nickname? Just call me Carl. Refer to me as Carl. You can call me Carl D. That'll be a little bit easier than having to say my whole full name. So it's Carl D. Remember that. Or you can just call me Carl D. It doesn't matter to me. Y'all just like fans. Anyway,
Carl
what's
D.
up, Tony? Mel, and of course you, Joey, the mean Puerto Rican, as Mel calls you. Anyway, guys, I'm back here for my homeboy Cody and my other homeboy in the chat room, Slim J. I have some prospects, guys. Check this out. I've been looking at film on. We're going to go with safeties, and us Panthers need safeties. I have a free safety if he's there. Quinn Blanding out of the University of Virginia. I'm telling you, we need to replace
Kurt Coleman.
Coleman and Adams. This guy, from all the film I've been watching, this guy is by far the best safety coming off a blitz, off the edge on a blitz. And this dude is a ball hog. You hear me? everywhere, every time the ball was thrown in the air, he was somewhere in the vicinity, causing big plays. So, yeah, Blanding is good. Then there's another safety. He's very underrated by the name of Edmonds, Terrell Edmonds from Virginia Tech. This guy is
Likes them Virginia boys.
Athlete. He's underrated. He don't get the love he deserves. And then, of course, there's a guy from Texas, 6'2", 205 pounds, named Elliott. Hey, man, the guy is awesome. I'm telling you. Check him out. Check him out, Mill. Check out these safeties, Mill, and come back and let me know what you think next week on these safeties names I just gave you. All right, now we got corners. My favorite corner in the draft may not be on high on some people's boards, and guess what his name is? You got it. Carlton Davis.
Oh, no wonder you love him.
Auburn, 6'1", 203
Call
pounds.
his own number.
He's not my favorite because he shares the same name as me, but if you watch this guy, his career, this guy is possibly, he has the tools to be a shutdown safety. Hi, Carl. As I was saying, my favorite corner was Carlton Davis of Auburn.
He got cut off.
If you watch his whole career and go watch film on him, this guy has the tools to be the shutdown corner. And he has some good speed to keep up with he literally shut down Mr. Calvin Ridley of Alabama. So you know how good Ridley is. And can you imagine him on the opposite side of Bradbury?
James.
And then I have also a sleeper corner to watch out for is from Oliver from Colorado. He's pretty good. I like him. So those are my guys. And then I have another offensive guard by the name of Smith out of Auburn.
He's been doing a lot of film tape watching.
Possibly a starter one day for us.
We're almost there.
And I have a sleeper. My sleeper in offensive tackle is a 6'6", 330-pound man by the name of Okorafor. I hope I pronounced the name right. Anyway, he's from Western Michigan. Right this guy is a beast. So, guys, tell me what you think about my list. My
all right, so here's what I think about the list so far is that first I like is Carl D, because you are our family, because you're here every Tuesday. We love you, brother. Likes them Virginia Tech safety. I mean, those Virginia safeties, right? And I've been like disappointed with anybody named Okafor since he was in Charlotte, and he was really. God, I felt like, I mean, I thought he's a good basketball player, but it just never worked out to where he could be built around as the complete star here in Charlotte. So that's all I think about when I think about Okafor is that. So 6'6", 300 pounds. That sounds like a different man, though. Not the same man. Big man, though. All right. Willie. Out of all those things, what do you think helps the most, the fastest? Offensive lineman, safety, and or corner?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if we really need a corner. And after the players we invested in corner, I'm not 100% sure we go in the corner. I think we got some young guys in there. I'd like to see where Cornelius Elder does for us. Safety, we need a safety bad. As far as offensive line goes, it depends what happened with Norwell. I'm expecting him to go. I don't think we're going to spend that much money in the guards. Darrell Williams had done an outstanding job. We still got Taylor Monton out there. We do probably need a center, but we definitely need a safety. We need one bad.
Chris, you do a ton of work with having these players come to the studio and hang out with you. Have you gotten Norwell or Starr? I don't remember seeing either of those names in the studio.
Man, I taught the star. I don't even know if I taught the star all season. That guy is he doesn't like talking too much. But in terms of that list, I do like the safety. Even if you say that Kurt Coleman comes back and returns to some good form, we still got that other safety position that we got some age at, and we need to plan for the future.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do like that from the list, and I feel like the other positions can work themselves out in terms of the cornerbacks or the linemen. That lineman situation kind of gets really complicated if you ask me, because it seems like those guys didn't play horrible. I mean, you had one guy that nobody liked, that Khalil dude, but it almost seemed like the play calling crippled this team or something.
Yeah, it did.
What they did for those linemen, because it was just weird. It was really weird all season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange when you have for your offensive lineman. It's kind of strange when it seems like, well, first, I'm not going to go crazy with PFF rankings. I think that we've bought way too much into it. Just a little bit of like how you can individually grade each person on each play and come up with this assessment of how they played for the whole season. But the Panthers, they did have two. What they have? Norwell, who played Pro Bowl.
I think he just got I think so. Thing. I don't think he made Pro Bowl. Turner was Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Turner was Pro Bowl, right?
We've had that. You've got the guards that seem to be great. You had Darrell Williams, who's been celebrated, and Matt Khalil was kind of just up and down, not awful, but not better than not average either. Better, maybe average at best. But you still see a lot of grades where the offensive line was not awful this season, and we struggled to run the ball. We seem to do better in pass protection this year than in run, and then on running downs, which is surprising to me.
Well, the running backs wasn't. I think it's play calling, man. I think we probably ran Christian McCaffrey a little too much up the middle. I thought we got a little too cute trying to run Jonathan Stewart to the outsides. I don't know. I don't know what Shula was out here doing. Jumbo package on 1st and 10. I don't know what he was thinking about, man. If we wanted to make a change in offense, I think we should have been moved on from Shula, but it is what it is. But play calling makes a big difference.
Yeah, look. This is how strange this season was. Greg Olsen gets hurt, and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" Then Ed Dixon has this monster game, and you're like, "Oh, we're great." And then Ed Dixon just disappears. Like, how is that? Jonathan Stewart has bad games. Boom, Jonathan Stewart, big game. Then next week, 20 yards rushing as a team or something. It was just like, it was
feast or famine. It was feast or famine. It seemed like you have games. Cam Newton throws five touchdowns, and then you go to the next game where we score like 6 points. You had Stewart. I think that Stewart is at this point. I think is just a role player at very best now. And look, I'm not trying to dog a player, but 5 games with 30 yards or less this season. That's a statistic that is tough to justify no matter what, I think. And you just didn't see. He comes back. Stewart has been the guy that I think now, I forget the guy who, Mel would know this, is that if you need 2, I'll get you 3. If you need 4, I'll get you 3. And there was a running back that said that a long time ago, and I thought that's where Jonathan Stewart is. He's going to get you 3.
I don't know.
Well, you're right.
I don't know if he'll even get you that 3. Like, I love Stewart personally, but his performance this year, it didn't seem like there was any reliability to him doing anything, even going over the goal line. I know there's a few times he jumped and he, wouldn't make it for those short yardage gains. So I don't know if he's going to come back, in my opinion, because you got Fozzie, you got Cameron Artis-Payne, you got. I guess Armour's kind of like a fullback, a different situation, but And then you got Christian McCaffrey. So you kind of look at the fact that Jonathan's older. He does make a good amount of money. Didn't have a good season at all.
You can free up a little space at this point.
It's time to move on. This draft is deep at running back. I'd love to see Nick Chubb and McCaffrey teamed up or paired.
Oh, God, that would be the bomb, dude. That would be the bomb. Or Jeremy Hill is a name I like a lot as a free agent potential signing. I think, too, is like you said, and we've done this now, two cycles we've done this. You felt like we did this a little bit with D'Angelo Williams. His last years in Carolina were about this, where it was just, meh. You know what I'm saying? And then he goes off, and I guess he gets a second life in Pittsburgh for a little while. But Stewart, like you said, I mean, it's just time, I think. Just time. Get a little burst.
It's
all right,
time.
that's about all to really talk about tonight. Let's do our ice up picks real quick. Chris, you got anybody you want to ice up? I saw you talking junk about drivers in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We be watching you.
Hey, I hit you a really good tweet about a month ago. If you don't remember it, I won't bring it up. But, yeah, so, sure, Charlotte drivers, do me this favor. I'm getting old. I know it looks like I'm 21, but I'm 42. Okay?
You do look good for 42.
Thank you. If I'm in the right-hand lane, you don't have a right to do anything. Blow. I don't care what. If there's more than one lane, and I'm in the right-hand lane, let me do whatever it is that I want to do. And secondly, if traffic's not moving, and as soon as the guy takes off his brake lights in front of me, don't blow at me like I'm suddenly going to get us home in 10 minutes, because all I got is, what am I going to do? Go 5 feet in a split second? What's the point? So, Charlotte drivers, do me a favor. Just go around.
Which tweet is this you're referring to? Bring it up.
Not even, would not even do you the pleasure.
Which tweet was it?
We're at 10:05.
What?
You got to give other people their chance. Ice, go ahead. Tell your story.
My story? What did I do to you?
Well, you got to ice up the ice up thing. I'm not the host. I'm saying.
Ice up. All right. I just want to know what you got to ice me up. I thought you got me on something.
No. I'm ready to hear yours. Or Nasty. Okay. Let's.
P Nasty, what you got?
Ice up all the Darrell Williams haters. You know what? I like Darrell Williams. I thought he had a good year. I'm not saying he's going to the top or he's top 10, but I thought Darrell Williams played a damn good year. I'm really happy he's here. I'm really happy that he had a positive year. I hope it continues. And, offensive tackle has been an issue for us for years. It looked like we might have some kind of stability at right tackle. And, there's a couple of dudes that just absolutely hate Darrell Williams. I think is uncalled for, and ice up Darrell Williams haters.
Hey, I second that. I don't even know what's been going on, but if somebody's been on my show, don't talk about them. Period.
I know. That's why you can talk all the junk you want about who we got. Who's somebody that was hard that's not interested in doing that in the past.
Russell Shepard.
Oh yeah, where's he been at? Missing in action.
Well, he need to be off his team.
Yeah. All right. So my ice up pick is going to go to Reuben Foster.
Oh yeah, damn.
Reuben Foster was arrested for some sort of domestic violence issue. I didn't see anything further than just booked over this, but this is Reuben Foster now, after looking so stunning he's a awesome football player, Biletnikoff winner at Alabama, I believe. As also, we saw him firsthand early in this season, where Reuben Foster, when he was in that game, Carolina was struggling. They were struggling. He was making an impact on that game defensively. Goes out with an ankle injury. Did come back and try to play a little bit, but was nicked up in that game. He was the November NFL Player of the Rookie of the Month, I believe, or something like that. He had a good month in November. So good football player, but has struggled off the field with some instances. Got caught with, I think, a good amount of pot in December. He also got arrested recently with this domestic violence, and I think that this is a repeat type offense for him. I'm not entirely sure of that, but I know he also got sent home at the NFL Combine, if you guys remember, for like freaking out on the medical staff over something. There was concerns about that shoulder. And, you know, there's a lot of smoke surrounding Reuben Foster right now. I hope that young man finds a way to stay focused on football, because you hate to see such talent not get to reach its full potential. So, Reuben Foster, ice up. Ice up, get it together. I'm always rooting for people to succeed, unless it's like, I don't know, Ted Ginn Jr.
I'm rooting. I'm rooting for Josh Gordon, man. That's my boy. That's what I'm rooting for.
Oh yeah, that's.
I hope some.
Carl D wants to ice up Josh McDaniels for leaving, and this was an ice up pick last week by Mel Mayock, I believe. What about this? Maybe God works in mysterious ways. Frank Reich, isn't that his name?
Frank Reich,
offensive coordinator for the Eagles, now hired as the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. That's nice, because he's done a lot of good work there, it seems, in a short amount of time. But also, you get a guy who, you know, maybe McDaniels isn't just he doesn't seem like a great personality at this point. He kind of reminds me of the pro version of, who's that former USC coach, Tennessee, now UC? He's in
Lane Kiffin or something?
Lane Kiffin, yeah. Pro version of Lane Kiffin. All right, Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe, tell them where they can find your work, and maybe even get some cool photos taken in Charlotte if they need that.
So, yeah, I covered right now, the Panthers are on the off season. I also cover the Charlotte Hornets, but any sports coverage you guys are interested in learning about, charlottevibe.com, and I love to take questions and do what you guys want to do, use my credentials to get that information to you, have the fans involved, so holler at me.
How did you not ice up the 0 for 10 performance from Nick Batum? Yeah, taking a lot of heat there. Not good.
Hey, as you see, if you throw me the question, I'll answer it. I told you I'm tired. I'm old, man. I had to go to my son's football. I got all this stuff. You want to talk about football? Talk about my son's team, but let me number down.
Nick Batum, $120 million. Is he going to be a part of Charlotte Hornets going forward, do you think?
Yeah, I think he has to be, because there's so much money.
Much money.
You just can't throw it away.
Never trust a Frenchman. My theory there. No. All right, P Nasty, tell them where they can get you, brother.
You can reach me at Panther Nasty on Twitter and Panther Nasty on YouTube.
My name's Tony Dunn. This is the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We encourage you to follow the podcast. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. Hit that share button. Call in to the Cat Calls line, 252-228-5098. We'll see you next Tuesday with some more fresh Panther news.